Well, welcome everybody to the May 12th Budget Finance Investment Committee, our first meeting to start going over the 2015-16 budget. We're going to do this. This is my first time doing this, so y'all bear with me. It's not going to be pretty. But we're going to do it just like we've done in the past. We're going to ask the department heads to join us. We're going to listen to the mayor's recommendation. Hope the department head will say if they agree. If they don't, we'll discuss it, and then we'll act accordingly. We'll start off with community learning. Welcome, Dr. Payne.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's be on page 10. If you look in section 1 behind the salmon colored page, section 2.
I got a question. Okay, on all these budgets, it's going to have the pay increase in the affected benefits, including insurance?
In all the budgets, it has, with the current pay plan and the employee going up one step. If you remember what I spoke to earlier, is the mayor asked the HR director to go back and give him more options. I gave you a dollar amount in total, so that will be brought back to you. But right now, what is in the budget is the one step. The employees went current pay plan, one step. It also, you asked about the insurance, and yes, we've made some adjustments for the rate. Well, it's made the adjustments for the current rate, then an estimate of some people who may change plans.
That one step, that's just for county general.
County general, ambulance, solid waste.
Okay, if we're ready to start on page 10. This is Mr. Dr. Payne here now. All of you know this is the Community Learning Center, whereby we have a school for those people that are giving an extra chance to get through high school.
Yes.
And we only have 3 employees out there. And one of them is a math/science teacher, and that person is nearing retirement. So what we need here is a transition period, and the only real change to this budget is we're leaving this current person's position in here because we're going to have to replace her. And we put in here some money for part-time personnel, which would be her, for enough period of time to help us transition. This is an extraordinarily difficult assignment for all 3 of these individuals down there, in that, you know, you've got 10, 12, or 15 of these young people that have to be taught all these required courses. They have to pass all these tests. It's a unique situation, but it's a wonderful opportunity to help these people, you know, really have get their degree so they can be at least have an opportunity for success. So you're going to see here that this budget is up about $50,000, and we've had to continue the insurance on all 4 of these people, the 3 plus the one that's leaving, at least for a while. So we've got the full budget complement plus this $32,000 of additional part-time money that's there that we've not had any of that before, so that we can have some reasonable transition to make this still a viable operation that provides enough support and resources for these young people to have an opportunity. So my recommendation is $303,164.
Dr. Payne, does that sound good to you?
Sounds absolutely great to me. By the way, Mr. Burgess is the superintendent of this school, so I'm glad he showed up. I was beginning to get worried.
And what we estimated is 120-day contract for the part-time.
So theoretically, this budget will be able to go down next year.
Yes.
Because we're not adding anything, we're just transitioning through
We need this
a
to
long-term
transition to
employee
make this.
phasing out and in.
I know this may not mean anything, but this is my 26th time, because the first year the budget was already done. Whatever this may mean, I've never asked you for anything. And we have just had to absorb so much with tremendous changes in education that I know you can't believe this, but I'm not getting any younger. And it's becoming more demanding. I've got sick parents, and I mean, it's to the point where if one of us happen to need to miss a day, we lose a third of our workforce. And we're talking about some wild teenagers. These kids, some of them did not get there for their great behavior. Now, that's not all of them. That's just some of them.
But anyway, there you go. They're doing a great job, and the outcomes. We have graduation
10 last year and 8 tomorrow.
tomorrow. We have graduation, so you can come and view and listen to the stories of some of these young people. So it's our opportunity to have a small number of young people, but it's their last opportunity.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the mayor's
Thank
recommendation.
you, Commissioner Petty.
Oh.
Second, Commissioner Allen.
Question. I just want to ask, next year, are you going to want that part-time person still there when this one retires?
This part-time person
I'm
has
talking
told,
next year.
yeah, she told me she was only going to do this for a year. But I don't know what I would do if she came back and said, I want to do it a second year. I guess we'll deal with that if and when that does happen.
But you-
I will never get a seasoned teacher. I mean, she's been doing this really more than 15 years. She's just been with me 15 years. So I'm getting this part-time person who's a long-term seasoned teacher. So she said 1 year is what she told me, but I don't, you know how time changes. I don't want to go on record and say, I promise you she won't do it for more than a year. But that was her initial
Okay,
plan.
say she only does it a year. Are you going to get somebody else for next year?
Yes, but probably not at this,
Level?
not at this level.
He's asking, are you gonna get a fourth person? No.
No. It'll be a part-time.
We're not making any commitment past this year.
No.
Ms. Nolan says 120 days
Yeah.
included, so this person's gonna be gone before next year's budget's done anyway.
Court starts.
So tell-
120 days will be over
tell
with.
One thing then, why did the employee independent insurance then go up?
For a
From-
part-time person. I mean, that would be your question, why?
Yeah.
And it's because with, and I've spoken with Melissa, the question is with Obama,
ACA.
thank you, I couldn't draw it out, affordable care, that if the look-back period, if the employee had been here an average of more than 30 hours, then you have to provide insurance. So I put it in here because when she transitions out from full-time to part-time, she would have been averaged out 30 hours. You see what I'm saying? So it's the hedge just in case that we have to provide it.
And I'm going to go ahead and just plant the seed. I had an opportunity to tour the facility with Dr. Payne. It's incredibly impressive, the amount of work that they
Thank
get
you.
done with such little staff. So I'm going to plant the seed that I would like to see you continue with a part-time person going forward.
Thank you.
I don't know how you've done it with 3 people.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no objection, we'll take these votes as a voice vote instead of a roll call vote. And if there's any item that somebody feels like ought to be a roll call, just feel free and mention it, and we'll switch back. But through this next few weeks on these meetings, we'll just do the voice vote. So all those in favor of the motion as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Payne.
you very much for having me.
County Commission, page 1.
Okay, the county commission, this is the same budget as we've had for the last year, so there's really nothing new here to even point out to you. I think it's up a couple $1,000.
Only for dues and membership.
Dues and membership went up a little, I think, on county commission dues.
Well, can I ask before somebody makes a motion, what are the dues and memberships that is it some national organizations
No.
or something?
Well, Lisa May can tell you, I know the County Commission Association, you're a member of that.
Okay, Tennessee's, all right.
County Officials Association, the Tennessee Valley Government Association, that's $1,200. The Greater Nashville Regional Council, that's an organization we've been in for, that's 18. Tennessee County Services 3,
Okay.
Regional Transport 8, and Tennessee County Commission 2,600.
We didn't know
It's-
those either.
7 things that comprise
Okay. And give
37,000.
me a couple examples of other per diem and fees then.
Other per diem and fees, 81,900, Lisa. That is your commission meetings.
Yes.
Oh, What's what is it up above that? It says
That-
board
that
and
is the-
committee members.
That's the committee meetings
That's the committee.
and other boards.
Other board. Oh, okay, conservation, et cetera, like that.
PBA, well, not PBA, but
The
Records
Beer Board,
Commission.
Records
Board.
Commission.
Okay.
But mostly,
Audit.
largely just your own committee meetings is that first item.
But there's no increase whatsoever. There hasn't been in
I just looked at
at
this.
least
and it's
14,
okay.
15 years.
There's extra meetings, I mean, one of the reasons why is that we build in extra meetings just in case.
We did start adding an extra commission meeting in case of an emergency. A few years ago, we haven't had to do it, but it's in the budget in case we had.
Yeah,
We've
we
got
have
13
We got
scheduled.
13 meetings budgeted.
Motion to approve the mayor's recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
County Mayor, Phase 2.
Recommendation is $536,954. That's about $3,500 less than this year. There's a continuation budget, and I guess it's just in the minutia of insurance. I think it's most of that little reduction. And the county mayor doesn't have insurance, so you're getting that savings.
Well, extra tidbit of knowledge after the
Make a motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Commissioner Allen, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Human Resources, Ms. Stevenson, page 3. Well,
All right. The recommendation is $304,766. That's about $36,000 more. And all of that basically is in one item, or really two items. She's increased our employee recognition, which is line item 599, about $1,200 just to have some additional funds to do some things to recognize success and good things that employees are doing. And the only other thing of any real consequence is that line item 399, that's $31,595. That's a little over $31,000 there, and she can tell you just a bit about that, but that's a piece of a small piece of software that's many of our other government jurisdictions are using to help manage applications and et cetera. So that's where a large part of this, and some of that is one time, and a bit of it is reoccurring. So you can just give them a little bit of flavor of what that might do and how that's going to help us.
NeoGov is a software that a lot of other governmental agencies use, from a municipality to a county agency to the state to the federal government. Currently, right now, I checked to see how many users they have, and they have 4 federal users, 47 states use this software, 345 counties and 785 municipalities. And what it does for us, there's 3 parts to this software. They have an online application process, which what it would do is let departments basically requisition a position when they need a position. It allows us to integrate with finance to make sure that there's a position available, that it's open and can be filled. And then we post the position, and this gives us the opportunity to go on to governmentjobs.com, which then Indeed.com, Monster.com, all of those big recruiting websites will pick this up. So that does one thing for us. It allows us to have the advertisement without having to pay the advertising cost. When we have a job that's really unique, we have to go out and to advertise it. Sometimes it'll cost us between $1,000 and $2,000 to advertise it for a week. So that gives us an opportunity to be nationwide or even worldwide for some of our positions, or all of our positions, but for the unique positions. The other thing it does for us is there's another piece called onboarding. And what the onboarding does is allows us to do our orientation piece prior to the employees starting their first day. Where that's a benefit is it lets them know the rules and regulations in advance. They go through a video training, which is what they would have with orientation, but it also lets them fill out all their paperwork online. So their I-9, their W-4, all their new hire paperwork will be completed before they start the first day. what is happening now is on an employee's first day, they have to come to our office and spend a considerable, at least 4 to 6 hours with us their first day. So their first day, they're really not getting to work. If they offer to come in and complete the paperwork, we have to pay them for that time because we physically made them come to our office. With this software, they can do it online, and then they're ready to go when they start. The other piece of it is it allows us to do some of our training. We have to do annual online training. We do the employee handbook, Title VI, because we receive grant funds. We have to do sexual harassment. That's required by law. And so it allows us to do some of those trainings online as well. We already have that set up on our website to do training, but this will help us to track it in a better way. There is an additional piece to this which we're not requesting to partake in right now, but it's a performance evaluation system, and it's an online system which would aid us in that in the future if we want to go to a fully automated personal performance evaluation. Right now, we're just requesting for the online application. It helps us with the databases. I mean, there's just so many things we get. I tracked it to let you know how many positions that we posted last year, and with any application, we have numerous applicants. We had, in 2014, we had 201 job postings. And our average job posting gets about 30 applications. Some get less, and some will get up to 90 or 100 applications, depending on what it is. Well, when an application comes in, we have to process it. We have to scan it, make the copies, get it ready to send to the hiring department. Then we do an evaluation of it based on the minimum requirements of the job. What this system does is does that for us. It's other agencies have it. You know, the bigger companies, Nissan, all those, you know, Bridgestone, wherever. State of Tennessee uses this. Like I said, the other governments, other municipalities. So it will do what we have to do now hands-on. It's going to save us a ton of time. So this will help us to be able to better manage this in our office, to do some of the other things we need to do in the departments. I have one person that's pretty much what her entire job is processing applications. And this would give us the opportunity to go out and do some of the training within the departments instead of me having to try to find somebody to come out and do it, and also to do some of the other things that we need in the county that I feel like would help advance us. As we look to transition to the future, we have a large portion of our employee population that could retire today. Out of our full-time population, we have 187 employees who could retire this year full-time. We have 214 who could retire next year, and within 5 years we have 324 employees. That's a large portion of our full-time population. So if we don't get ahead of this and start doing some successor training and successor planning for the future, it's just needed. This is one of the things that we need to do to make sure that we're prepared, and I don't think I would be doing a good job if I didn't request something like this to move us forward. So.
Is this a one-time cost, or is there a substantial annual fee that goes along with this?
This cost is the initial setup cost and the moving forward cost. Hold on, I've got it in my budget here. The annual recurring for the online application is $10,000, and the recurring is $10,807, and it's $10,807 for the onboarding. So we're looking at $21,000 every year. That's still a lot cheaper than a per employee per month. And if I looked at ADP, I looked at some other that offered something similar but not as relevant for county governments, to see if there was a software, and all of them wanted, you know, like I think one of them was 89 cents per employee per month, and the other was like $2 and something. So it really depends on what it'll do. These people are used to working with governmental entities. In addition, one of the things that they offer that other providers would not offer is anytime that there's an update or an upgrade to the plan, it's included in it. And the price never raises. Whatever we go into now, it's that way whether we have it for 20 years or 30 years. I have sent the contract to the county attorneys to review, and I've also contacted other entities within the state of Tennessee to say, you know, what are the pros of the system? What are the cons? If you could have it, everybody we've talked to loves it and said they wish they'd done it sooner. So,
You're saying that if we did a job posting, we wouldn't have to advertise? Are you saying you would not advertise locally on a job posting?
Oh, no,
and
no,
you
no.
just do this?
what would happen with this is it sets it up for us. So,
Well, I understood that Monster and some of the other large agencies would pick this up, so we'd have advertising out there nationwide or worldwide, or, you know, wherever they go. But I just wanted to make sure that we're still planning on advertising here locally, and not doing away with that.
no, it lets us set up, so like when we talked to them, we told them who we currently advertise, like we send it to the Career Center, we go to MTSU, depending on where the job is gonna be. We're looking for an engineer, we might go to Tech or somewhere like that that has a robust engineering program, but it will let us continue to send it to the places, our Channel 19, our website, MTSU's Career Center, the Career Center for the state. But in addition to that, we get the governmentjobs.com. So that's a bonus, not instead of.
Will we need any new computers or anything to make this work, and what operating system does it run on?
It runs, I've checked with our technology department. Brian and I discussed it, and he's also had Brad to look over the system. There's one piece of software that they're looking on the pricing now. It's anywhere from $200 to $1,000. It's called a Scantron, and that is one piece of equipment that we would have to have. And I think that's just where we're scanning data in to set up forms and those type things. But initially when we start off, they're going to set up all of our forms for us. So it would only be really if we're going to be doing new forms and updating that we'd have to have the Scantron. So it's fully functional. I don't know that, Brian, you'll have to help me. What's the exact, I mean, there was no integration issues or anything like that for the system. It works with our existing system, so
And how many total employees do you have in your office?
there are 3 of us.
Which I knew, but I just wanted everybody else to hear that too, for the amount of employees that you're doing. I know I've worked in some industries that had triple that for fewer employees, so that's gonna be able to save us some time. I can see that.
I told my staff, I don't know that we would necessarily realize it the first year, because that would be the implementation, and that will probably be a lot of learning for us. But I thought within the year or 2 that we would start seeing some relief to be able to do some things. And I'm really concerned about the future and making sure that we're prepared. And when I started looking at the numbers based on turnover and based on the number of people who could retire, not necessarily that they would, but who could, I would rather us be proactive than me coming up here going, oh my gosh, we're in a bind now, what are we going to do? So.
Any further questions from Ms. Davidson? We'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Commissioner Allen. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
County Attorney. I don't see anybody here from the County Attorney's office.
We've
Talked to him today.
we talked to him today, and the recommendation is $262,976, exactly the same amount of money we have budgeted for this year.
I know we had a lot of debate last year about in-house counsel. There was a lot of finagling to get this new contract worked out. Has it worked successfully? Has it worked the way we hoped it would?
We have a good relationship with our county attorney and his members of his team over there, and they're doing, I believe, an excellent job supporting us.
I'd like a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Schaefer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
1 no. Motion passes. Election Commission, Mr. Farley. Be on page 5.
Okay. Election Commission recommendations, $813,854. There are a few changes scattered down through here, which are somewhat reflective, in particularly say election workers, the schedule that, of elections that are upcoming, there is a reduction here that Mr. Farley has put in. That's a 200,000 reducing to 135,000. So you can see we've got $67,000 net reduction, and you might want to go down and look at some of the others, but most of this is pretty much a continuation budget. And several of these items, there is state reimbursement on line item 332, I don't know, let's see, 351, 411, and others. So all of this is not our money that's county funded anyway. Some of it's coming through the state reimbursement process. So
Projected about 179,000 would be reimbursed back to the state if expended.
So you can see that we haven't made hardly any changes. Most of them are some slight minor reductions, but in particular one I mentioned on line item 193.
So if I understood you correctly, that's because of just the election cycle that we're in.
Correct, and also too, with the reduction, the state reimbursement is, the state reimburses the presidential preference primary, not the other elections, but that one every 4 years. So that would affect, of course, now part of my salary is reimbursed by the state due to the certification that they require. So, so mainly it's because we're going just this one major election, but projecting to vote about 110,000 people in the presidential election.
And then what's the big jump on the item 411, the data processing? Goes up from 3,500 to 10,001.
Well, that's $8,000 again of some sort of state reimbursement there.
Right. Basically, what it is that in the past, we currently all the supplies like the toner we're going to be 100% e-poll book, so that means everything is going to be computer generated with laptops. So at that point, you have to print out, the printer, laser printer. So the toner, so the cost of toner for 48 precincts or 50 precincts and all the early voting. So what I'm doing is we're going to require. I mean that's an expense that's required for that. So we're going to expense that back to the state.
Okay, I was just curious what was.
Yeah, because it should be like that every 4 years, but we have to eat that in normal county and state federal primaries.
Mr. Farley, are you okay with the mayor's recommendation?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer. Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
On the line 709, you got 20,000, and then your amended budget was 20. What is that estimated budget for the current year?
That's just
Is that what?
when we close at the end of April, that's how much expense and that they've had
That we've
to
already
that
spent
period,
that much this year.
That's up till April.
to April 30th.
When I was seeing an estimate, I was thinking, well, that's half of what we're budgeted, so I understand now. Thank you.
Voting machines. What's happened? I don't know if if this is the right place, but is it going to be costing us something more here in the near future, like next year?
That's not projected. Of course, all the voting machines are certified by the state. We, for our growth that we're planning, we're in good shape there to handle the volume of voters that we have. But now, as we continue to grow, because we're required to have, based off the registered voters and population. So as we continue to grow, we will have to add to that. But we don't foresee that in any time.
Sending out the paper ballots or the hanging chad things or whatever, with all that stuff that went through, and there was all these laws made and
Right.
held off and all, that we don't have to worry about them right now.
We don't have to worry about the hanging chads or any type of. And of course, you do have your absentee ballots, but that's done through a separate process than what we did in Florida.
Better?
A lot better.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farley. Register duties, Ms. Goldbarn.
Hello.
Okay, the recommendation is $1,106,254. You can see that's a slight increase of $26,000, but primarily. There are step increases there. I mean, there's some nominal increases in the pay and an adjustment in the employee independent insurance. Beyond that, there's really nothing else that has changed. So all of these are just pretty much continuation kinds of necessities.
Now, when we started, you said, Lisa, that we have pay increase was one step. Is that what we're doing with your department?
I'm a
too?
little bit different in that I'm not on the pay tables, but they're very similar to the same percentages. We've done some across the board, cross-training and promotions in my office. And to cover that, if you'll note on there, you'll see one line item that's zeroed out. We no longer have a part-time position. We have utilized that within that to cover some of those pay increases for full-time. But it seemed to be the wisest decision to do that.
So do you have everybody in your office getting some increase?
Yes.
So that line 106, the second line, that's all your full-times together?
Yes, that is.
And you are agreeing with
Eliminating the part, I am agreeing with the
Really?
mayor's recommendation. Yes.
And then on your line 334, there's a big jump there in the maintenance agreement.
Yes, on maintenance agreements, we purchased a lot of equipment when I took office in 2010, and it came with warranties and maintenance agreements. Those have expired, and to continue those, we're going to have to pay out of pocket now.
Is that gonna be
Annual,
Yes,
it will
it's-
be annual, and generally with maintenance agreements, as equipment ages, it goes up a little bit each year from here forward, and you have to weigh, is this equipment worthy of that or not? And currently, yes, it is.
so that's not a multi-year purchase, that's gonna be an annual purchase?
That's an annual purchase.
Also with that line and a couple others, the Register of Deeds gets specific revenue to cover these costs.
We cover all of that out of, because those are networked pieces of equipment, that's covered under the electronic data processing fee that we collect on each document. So it's a separate restricted fund that can only be used for that as well.
Like, you're a fee office.
Correct.
Okay, so you get fees back for what you send out. What, of the fees you collect, how much of your budget, percentage-wise roughly, does that take care of?
It takes 100% of our budget. We turn excess over to the county general. So we cover all.
Last I remembered you did. but I
Yes,
just
we
wanted
cover
to
all of
check,
our
so-
expenses,
Okay,
and then turn over excess to the county.
okay. So that everybody can hear that too.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate you doing that.
Well, make a recommendation then that we approve the mayor's recommendation. I make a motion again.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Bond. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albarn. Planning and Engineering, Mr. Mossy, Mr. Hughes. We on page 7.
Page 7, okay, we're on page 7 with planning and engineering first. And the recommendation is $778,047. So that's $70-something thousand increase, but let's go back and focus a little bit on line item 103. I may let them sort of help us with this discussion, but what it really boils down to is this. We have an employee that's going to retire at some point, I don't know, within the next year.
2017.
2017. So we're going, it's not quite there, but we have an opportunity with that upcoming retirement to secure the services of a person that's well equipped and well qualified, and we are proposing to go ahead and bring that person on, but I think we've got 9 months starting in October in that line item 103 to be able to take an advantage of an opportunity to get a person that's well equipped to help us transition. So again, this is a bit of a transition process like we've discussed a little bit before with community learning centers. That's really, that coupled with the line item 709, the $25,000 there, because we didn't have any money in that line item before for various equipment, whether it's a copier or a plotter, I think. We put that down there, so that's those two components really make up the increase that you see here. And on top of that, insurance again is, I think, let's see, no, that's about 84. That's still about the same as we got in this current year budget. And Lisa, yes, okay. So that's my recommendation, and if you have questions, we'll let them address those. But there's nothing new except the data processing equipment plus this transition opportunity we have for and in.
If this is the person I think that's retiring, we better get the right person, or we're gonna need 2 or 3 to do this job. So, he's been doing it a long time, and it could easily take, without the right person, multiple people.
But this is a very, very experienced person we're getting, which is very, very qualified.
Are you guys in agreeing with the
Yes,
mayor's
sir.
recommendation?
Motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen.
This person, let's go back to this person. He or she's gonna start on the 1st of July?
October.
Okay.
We've got a little bit of time.
So now it goes, and now the other person's gonna retire in
2017,
and,
A little bit overlap.
when we say that, is that January 1st or is that June 30th? June 30th. June 30th. So
Their workload has increased, and we are we've sort of downsized them back during the Depression, the
Recession.
economic downturn. I won't use the word. So this is sort of a regrouping to where we once was, okay. So we eliminated 1 or 2 positions earlier, some few years ago.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll jump on down to environmental, that's on the same page.
Code compliance, yeah, that's $600.
$600. I
It's on bill.
don't even know what that's about, so.
Yeah, it is an environmental.
State
law.
environmental office. Oh,
What do we, yeah, what is that?
It's that right there.
I see it.
It's phone
That's
bill.
just the phone bill
Oh,
for
just
the,
a phone.
state
Excuse me,
office.
I know what it is now. We allow our friends that do the environmental, the septic work and inspections, to use our space. They pay us a bit of rent, but this is the phone bill, so they now tell me, so thank you.
motion to approve.
So
Thank you, Commissioner Bond. Second,
Second.
Commissioner Allen. This has been going on, and we definitely have need our environmental officer.
Didn't feel it.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, stormwater, go to page 49.
I see it. Okay, the budget request on stormwater is my recommendation is $211,957. That's a couple of $1,000s more, but if you notice some of the line items, there is a transition. In other words, we are increasing our part-time personnel from 19.7 to 31.6, but we have reduced the contracts with private agencies in line item 312, 33,000 to 8,400. So what has happened heretofore, Project WET, which is the water education for teachers program that we have, was being managed and taken care of by Discovery Center through a contract, and this contract is a partnership that we have with Murfreesboro and Smyrna and Laverne. They share our cost in this, and they're going to still share our cost, but we're going to, since the Discovery Center is not going to be able to do this ongoing, we're going to have to do this in-house, and so we've just sort of swapped the funds from contracts up to part-time personnel.
And as Commissioner Schaefer would say, most of the stormwater stuff is in the form of a roundabout unfunded mandate from Washington. It's only gonna get worse.
How much does the three cities contribute to this wet project?
Is it 27.5?
27.5.
So they're paying, each is paying roughly $4.
Yes, sir. They collect stormwater fees.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's not.
I thought we collected it from land disturbance.
Well, we do.
But
Yes, sir,
there's
but
not
that's-
that much that
No,
way.
sir. So that's a one-time fee. Those stormwater fees are every month.
I would just like to make one point here on line item 103. That's not a reduction in pay, but we have placed heretofore, we've had enough money in that line item to take care of when our engineer there becomes a professional engineer, we would have to increase their pay, and so this, we haven't reduced pay. I just want you to be sure you understand that.
Just reduced the budget.
We just reduced the budget at the point in which that position becomes a professional engineer, we would add additional dollars to that line item.
Is it gonna happen this year?
No, I don't think that's till 2017.
I think Ms. Nolan doesn't think it will happen this budget year.
Neither is the person, I know.
Well, they have to have a 4-year apprenticeship, so there's some time in that.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Baum. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to, thank you, gentlemen. We go to county buildings. Let's see, Mr. Manson, are we,
Is he in here?
I don't see him.
Okay.
You want to skip down?
Well, no, we might as well go ahead. Let me
Page 9.
take it, I guess. All right. You can see that we have a recommendation here from the mayor of $2,557,842. There are two things noteworthy here. And if you look up at line item 167, maintenance personnel, there is one new position here. The rest of the positions are just the same with our step increases projected forward. One new position is a painter. We have not had a painter ever, and we could use 2 or 3, just to be honest with you. And we've been doing this part-time, and part-time is not dependable and is not getting near the coverage that we need covered. So we have put in here a recommendation for one additional person to be a full-time painter. And down at the bottom, line 707, there's a long, long list of things that, under building improvements, and I have arbitrarily just said we're going to cut that request from 800 back to 600,000. That's a big number. We haven't been spending any money on these kinds of things, and the top 3 or 4 things that are on this list is, for example, is a roof replacement for the judicial building, which we're going to use that building continuously, even though we may move it, but we will use it constructively as years go forward. That's $200,000.
Is that a flat roof?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And there are any number of parking lots that need resurfacing, restriping, and repairing, $52,000. To replace the HVAC equipment in this courthouse, if we're able to do all of it, we may have to do this over a phased 2 or 3 years, is $300,000. The replacement for HVAC in our armory building, which probably should be higher than number 4, is $45,000. So there's a list of 4 or 5 other things that do total $800,000. I've just simply said we can't afford $800,000, and you may not think we can afford $600,000, but my recommendation is $600,000. And we put off a lot of these things over a period of years, and at some point, we're gonna have to sort of step back up and make some improvements here. So that's, everything else, I think, unless I missed something, is pretty much the same as you currently have in this year's budget.
Part-time drop for the.
Okay.
Yes, that was the painter. So the part-time dropped a little because that's where we've been funding that.
Yeah, I thought we did something with that judicial building roof. back
Now,
when it
the
was
piece
first-
that you did something with
Coin
is
building.
is
Next
the
to
old
it.
coin building that we have to continue to use for a period of time that it was in desperate condition.
It's right next to it.
Now, what I'm talking about is the building, the brick building that we will continue to use into the future for many years, hopefully.
What'll be the prognosis if the commission passes that land that has been approved through budget before anything started out there?
What would be the prognosis?
Solid waste.
Yeah. Well, but it also was gonna be a county garage too, right?
Yeah, that's-
Out there.
But there will be nothing in that next year's budget except for the land. We're gonna take at least 6 months to develop a master plan to help us define and everyone to agree on what we want and where we want it and what places we'll reserve for future use that maybe we don't even know about yet. So, but we're not gonna put anything building-wise in this coming budget.
So they don't wanna be cold in the winter and hot in the summer.
Well, we can wait another year, like we've been waiting for 10 or 15. One more, we'll make it.
We've added several buildings over the years and haven't been adding to this. We did take action a few years ago for the nickel and the schools to go toward maintenance of buildings, and we've got to maintain these buildings or it's going to fall down around us. And the more you've got, the more you're going to have to upkeep.
And I'm gonna go ahead and approve the mayor's, make a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation, and I'll just keep in mind that 500,000, if we get in a bind, I may know where to look, so.
Yes, that I understand.
Thank you, Commissioner Peggy. Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Can any of these projects come from development tax, or is it taken?
You'll be discussing that later.
We've already spent the development tax 2 or 3 times over. So
I figure that it usually happens that way, but it never, that's just like asking when we build a elementary school, asking the city of Murfreesboro to forego their part of it, right, to do it when we pay it.
Yes, sir.
It never
I'm
works
putting
either.
an asterisk by the 600,000 in my day. This number may get cut before we get through, but.
That's right.
So my next part of that is how do you foresee that we come up with an extra $500,000, well, a penny on the property tax,
Well,
basically? Is it,
I think we just need to look at the big picture. How do we come up with 58 cents?
Yeah.
That if we don't increase revenue or use fund balance. So all of that discussion, I think, really needs to be taken together.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Archives, Mr. Lodell, how are you tonight? We're on page 11.
Well, has come to our table now is the director of our most efficient, one of our most efficient, if not the most
He comes in
efficient.
behind Ben Cates, I hate to, don't let you get there.
All right, well, we'll give him credit for number 2 then, but $122,956 is my recommendation, and you can see that's $2,400 more than this year, which is, they do a lot with a very small budget. That's my recommendation.
Are you in agreement with that, Mr. Lodell?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Discussion or motion?
Motion to approve the mayor's
Thank you,
recommendation.
Commissioner Schaefer. Second, Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Bowler. Ms. Street, risk management. Be on page 12.
Okay, our recommendation here tonight on risk management is $1,148,133. That's $10,000 or $11,000 less than current year's budget. And one thing of note, you'll see that in line item 189, the other salaries and wages is decreased from $112,000 to $93,000. And that is offset by us reducing that one position, removing one position, and contracting in line item 399 for other contracted services with a company that will provide these services, safety inspections at all of our locations, every single one of them. So there's a bit of savings there, and we think the result and the outcome of our trial period for this year has proven that we're getting excellent results and good responses from our folks that we are surveying. And there is, so that's about, and there is an increase in liability insurance because we've taken these bids, and that's what it is what it is, because our amount of risk, our exposure has increased. The rates are not necessarily up, but that's just what it comes out with additional things that we're having to cover. So that's my recommendation.
What's line 508? It was premiums on corporate. It was surety bonds. Right.
We only do that at election time.
Ms. Streeter, are you okay with the mayor's recommendation?
Yes, I am.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
I'll second.
Second, Commissioner Schaefer. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Streeter. Finance. Ms. Nolan, page 13.
Okay. Well,
I got the red pencil.
she got a red pencil. And I hated to do it to her, but we have to be fairly consistent. Recommendations $1,142,240, $14,000 increase, which are some nominal increases in her compensation, along with, like the other departments, and a little bit more in part-time personnel, $4,000, I think. Insurance is $6,000 of that increase, so you can see that there's really nothing new here. Her request did include a vehicle, and I'm not recommending that. We're just going to have to see if we can continue to share, and I think there may be, hopefully, a couple of vehicles that might be available.
The sheriff's fixing to sell some for $2,000.
Hey, you get lights and everything.
They put the lights on.
So anyway,
I accept the mayor's recommendation.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Jernigan, well, Commissioner Peake and Commissioner Jernigan. I'll draw there on the Any further discussion?
Yeah, just explain on our sheet, and this is the first one that's come like this, where positions requested to add and eliminate. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. That's you, right? That
Yes.
You asked.
Yes, I asked for a position.
Accounts payable dual
I
role.
asked for one of my part-time people to increase, to be changed to a full-time.
Full-time.
So,
Okay. And
That was part of it,
that's where
so-
the mayor avoided it, that's the way
Right.
I read it. Okay,
right,
thank you.
that's exactly how to read that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Trustee, Mr. Beatty, how does it feel to not be number one on the agenda for once?
Once a year.
okay, the recommendation is
Page 15.
$706,650, and basically all of it increased. Everything else is the same, except after reflection and computations under line item 540 for the tax relief program, that has been increased $75,000. That's his request, and that's what's necessary. So that's included in the recommendation. So if you have a question about that, Mr. Beatty can address the need for that.
I'll address that. It's probably just good for all of us to know. One, we've been bumping the top end of that budget, and maybe a little over even this time. But the state has made a change to that program. We've been paying on the first $25,000 of appraised value on seniors, low-income seniors, and disabled homeowners, and that will drop to $23,000, and we'll save a little bit on our match on that side. But on disabled veterans, the state has been paying on the first $175,000 of appraised value, and now the state will pay on the first $100,000. So where that affects us is several of the veterans had been paid 100% at the 175, so we hadn't been matching at all. And at the 100, we'll have to pick up a match, but we have a maximum cap on our match of $306. But so we save a little, but on the veteran side, it cost us. It's why we've seen such a significant increase this year, because we'll have a little more match exposure than we've had in the past.
On line 317, what's your data processing increase?
It's the same.
It's the same.
It's just
They
that
just
he
haven't split the
spent.
7,000
Yeah,
so
it's
far.
There's two.
Okay,
Reappraisal and
gotcha,
county
gotcha.
trustee are both on the same page.
Okay,
Down at the bottom, trustee.
gotcha.
Okay.
Any further questions? Mr. Beatty, I get to you accept the mayor's
I
recommendation.
do, yes, sir.
Any further questions or I'll accept the motion?
Make a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
And I'll second that.
Second, Commissioner Fee.
One thing I want to mention is the commission had passed some of this relief. So those increases that he's talking about, we're picking up to something that the full commission's already voted on in past years, so.
About 10 years ago, 12, 8.
It's been a few anyway, at least 5.
We've been matching since before I became trustee. We did make a few changes when we adopted that senior tax freeze. That's when we put the when we put the $306 cap on that.
That's a good program, helps a lot of
It
people.
helps a lot of folks.
No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fee. I'm going at this point in time turn the meeting over to Vice Chairman Baum because my son is graduating in 30 minutes at Murphy Center and I've got to go to graduation. So we'll let our very capable, you may not want me back up here anymore after Charlie does such a good job, but y'all have a good rest of the evening.
I don't know about that. You'll be stuck with me for just 3 items. And the next one on the list is our county clerk, so we'll invite Miss Lisa Crowell to come up.
Okay, the recommendation here is $2,448,454. That's about $100,000 more, and that's made up of a few things that will sort of draw your attention to that. Of course, you'll notice up in the line item for deputies, 106, and part-time is up a couple of thousand, but the deputies is up just because of the step increases. The independent insurance, 205, is up about 14,000. So you can come all the way down then to line item 499, which is up $4,000. That's just other supplies and materials. And then 709 is up $52,175, and we'll come back to that one. And office equipment's up. 719 is up $4,300. That's for a new copy of that line item 719. But there's been some discussion before. This $52,175 is for a machine, and this, I think you have enough EDP fees to pay for that, don't you, Ms.?
It'll be coming in,
It'll
yes.
be coming in.
Mhm.
So that's going to save her a substantial amount of labor by having this machine to print these stickers, and she won't have to manually stick them and all of this stuff. So it's a win-win for her staff, and it's going to be much more efficient, and she's going to generate enough revenue to pay for it, basically. So that's the notable changes in this budget. The rest of it is pretty much the same.
I was here several months back and asked for the $52,000. The state of Tennessee sent me this map today, and if you would like to see, this is how we rank amongst the state of Tennessee on how we're doing. keeping up with the motor vehicle. We're one of 7.
So the white counties
white one.
are doing so good? Are
No,
doing
we're
the
not.
best? Huh?
No.
We're not, okay.
We're not. But I'm here tonight because you invited me back tonight and asked me to put it in this year's budget, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So, that is the increase for, where are we at?
$4.99.
$4.99. And that money is
Excuse me,
earmarked.
$7.09, excuse me.
$7.09. That money is we get money from the state each month because of our productivity and what we're doing, how we're printing our titles and all that. We're printing more than 51% of our titles. So we're getting $2.35 per title that we print. Then we're getting an additional $250 a month. Once we start the scanning, then we'll get an additional $150 a month for scanning. So it'll eventually, it's going to pay for itself. This way, like I said before, we visited several different counties comparable to our size, and the organized one is the one that we need to do. That's the reason for that line item.
Will you just briefly for
Increase.
me, remind me of exactly what that piece of equipment does?
There's 2 pieces of equipment. The first piece of equipment is called the Print on Demand. And this is what I brought with me the last time to show. Hang on, let me get my paper clip undone. This is what is Print on Demand. These come to us blank, okay? Blank stock that the state will furnish. This right here, it'll be the same number as what your license plate number is. So this is Print on Demand. The other piece of equipment is scanning. Right now, we save and we bundle up all of our paperwork. And we take that to the state of Tennessee once a week. The scanning will be real time, meaning we scan it, those images go into the state of Tennessee and other counties can see it almost immediately. Like I said, I just showed you this, and we're only one of 7 in the state of Tennessee that's not doing it. On that. The copier, I've shopped pricing and got the best price for what we're needing. That piece of equipment is, I think, 12 years old. And parts are being eliminated. They're now having trouble finding the parts. And, of course, what it's costing per copy, it's time for a new copier in that department. I need to discuss line item 307. That's our communications line. I had it to be the same as last year. And I'm showing that it needs to be cut. I don't agree with that. It's something is not going on exactly right now with that. It happened, what, Lisa, 3 or 4 years ago? When we had to make up that, we got in the same situation and it looked like we had more than we were using, and then we had to go back and use it. With that being said, I have been in discussions with Brian Robertson, and our phone system is still the same phone system that was put in 1997 when that building was built. We are dropping phone calls. We have 5 lines going into that building, into our office, and with phone lines being dropped, let me put it out there exactly the way it is. You have someone that's been calling into our office for 20 minutes and getting a busy signal. They finally get through, they're getting help, and all of a sudden their phone call is dropped. They have to start all over from square one. I have some unhappy people out there because of the phone system. So I've been working with the IT department, Brian, and we're hoping to get a new phone system in.
But, and he has money in his budget now.
For that.
For phone systems, yeah.
But I don't know how much additional we're going to need for that.
Well, I mean, this right here is just for the cost of usage, the line usage.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But, and we know that from now and until, we're looking at about December before the new phone systems can be put in. Something's going on, and I
But the only thing we
truly
don't,
feel that there's gonna be a bill come in, and I'm not gonna have it to cover.
well, we got other line items that you're not using fully either.
Well,
So here, I mean, I don't disagree with all this. It's not, you've spent $9,800 through April the 30th.
exactly.
So that's more than half of the year. So I just arbitrarily and capriciously said twice that is enough.
And I can understand that, but I know what situation I was in several years
Okay.
ago.
We'll be happy to give you a budget amendment when that occurs.
If that's what you'd like to do.
That's up to the committee, though, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, did you say that Mr. Robinson's got the money in the budget to
We have some money in the
update
budget,
this
and
phone
if-
service?
He may not can do every department that wants new telephones, but if she's priority, she'll get hers.
I hope I am.
I hope you are too.
If we put in a new phone system, would the cost of the line change?
It'll go down.
It's supposedly,
It'll
it
go
goes
down.
down, but I don't know how much.
It may be a half a year before we get it put in, is what she's
Right.
saying, so.
So through April the 30th, we've spent a minority
According to this-
of line 307, and the cost could even go down with the new phone system next year.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to explain here is several years back, there was a situation that came up, and we were right where we are at right now. And we thought, why is this line item so much more than what it was the year before? Somehow or another, our bill was getting sent somewhere else, and then all of a sudden, oh, you got to take this up. And luckily, I still had that money in that line item. I don't want to get caught in that position again. But if you want me to come back and do an amendment, I can do that as well.
We only spent $18,500 last year.
Yeah.
The only reason I do this, Lisa, is not just because of you. Every penny we put in here,
Mhm.
whether you spend it or don't spend it, has to be appropriated, and we have to have the revenue to support that. So it's part of the property tax process.
Oh, and I understand that, I promise. I just don't want to get in
I
a bad situation.
I found in 2012, your bill was $20,787 for that line.
But I'm perfectly agreeable for the committee to do what they choose on that line item.
I make a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation, and I will say, if you have a problem with that bill, come see us.
Motion by Commissioner P, second by Commissioner Jernigan.
I imagine she would.
Any further discussion?
A question on your new equipment that's gonna do your scanning and the printing. What kind of warranty does it come with? Do you know? I mean, I would think that one would be.
I don't know. Stoney was here when I was here the last time, and I want to think it come with a 1-year warranty, from what I remember. But don't hold me to that. But
So
for
that means
whatever
you're gonna
reason,
need maintenance agreements on it after the first year, is what you're.
I'm not aware of one. I am not aware of one.
But remember, she will be generating
Money
monies
paying to
that'll be coming
be
in
able to use it.
that will give her some revenue even reoccurring into the future.
And the gentleman that I had here with me the last time, he is with a company we call BIS. It's Business Information Systems. He's from Piney Flats, Tennessee. And that company has now been hired by the state of Tennessee to help with the problems that the computer system, the title and registration department has. So, and 90 of the 95 counties is with them.
So they'll take care, the state of Tennessee will take care of it if it breaks down. as
Well, I surely hope so.
I doubt it.
It's a nice thought, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, history has proved that they've got a very, very efficient, effective software system, hardware system, all of that together, and they're doing a great job managing that.
And I'll have to say, I can make a phone call, and they can be down here in a day or two. They work well with our IT department when needed. They do a nice job.
They're taking care of the other 90, there ain't no reason they wouldn't want to take care of it. I see.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you, Ms. Crowell.
Thank
Next
you.
on our agenda is GIS, and we'd like to invite Mr. Brian Robertson and Ms. Barbara Marlin up. And we're going to also welcome Darren Moore.
Okay. On this particular case, the mayor will have to tell you guys that on line item 334, I made a decision that was inappropriate and inaccurate, and that $350,000 needs to remain at the requested $400,000. So we'll come back and explain a little bit more about that. So the recommendation is $1,365,715. And if we sort of come down through here, we'll just make a few noteworthy comments. Line item 317 is decreased at their request $15,000. That $400,000 is an increase of $70,000, and that's a requirement of something that we partner with Murfreesboro, et cetera, so we may let Ms. Marlin tell us about that. But what it boils down to, this is not money that Rutherford County is going to have to pay in addition. This is money that we have to expend, but it's going to be reimbursed and paid for by the city of Murfreesboro. In fact, the city of Murfreesboro is increasing their contribution to that line item from, I believe, Ms. Marlin, from $66,000 to $186,000. Is that roughly correct?
Yes, sir.
So you can see we've gone from $330 to $400,000. That's a $70,000 increase, but we've got over $100,000 increase on revenue from the city. So that's sort of offset. So it's not something to be alarmed about. And my judgment that we were going to save the county $50,000 was inappropriate and not correct. And you might want to come back. Data processing equipment is down just a little bit. And then the other capital outlay on 799, that's the normal flyovers that we do every year from time to time at varying levels. And that's, they had requested $899,000, but after further review and discussion with them, we reduced that to $469,700. So that's my recommendation, and they may answer other questions that you might have.
Mr. Robertson?
We accept the mayor's recommendation.
On the 334 maintenance agreements, you said the city of Murfreesboro is increasing their revenue by how much?
I believe it was $120,000.
It increased last year from 66 to 170-some thousand, and it increased another 12,000 this
Oh, so
year.
all we got is a new 12
We've
this
got a
year.
new 12 this year.
So we even got
but
it
it
less.
went from 66 to the 170-some last year. So that increase, or this current budget year, for this current budget
But we
year.
still need to reflect it in our budget because that's the total cost of that.
We get revenue and
the
basic
total-
We
expense
get
out.
$268,800 worth of offsetting revenue for that line item total from all the municipalities.
Okay, and then of course, we all know what this flyover is and the cost that we've been seeing on that. The only question I've got, and I know this has been deferred or maybe it's completely done away with, but there was another proposal, I guess, property assessor?
Yes, sir.
Where are we, how is that progressing, or is it?
Well, it's
really?
progressing as soon as we can get this contract reviewed and in place where we could execute one. There is there are dollars in this budget enough to accommodate that.
Okay, but that would be a cost savings if we were able to put these two, or fly them jointly.
No, not really. They have to be flown independently.
Wow, that's interesting.
What the assessors, that oblique imagery does not, it's not engineering certified, you might say. It's not useful for our engineers and other local entities.
Basically, you can't go out and look at a grade stake and pull the elevations
Not
off
on
of
that,
that.
not on that system, so we have to fly our other stuff that we've been flying for years to accommodate that kind of level of accuracy.
Okay. I know the flyovers are expensive. Can you tell us a little bit about why the cost of them is going up, though?
Well, this is two different flights, and this is an on-year. We have an off-year, on-year. This is an on-year, so this not only includes the imagery that we capture, but the data that is accumulated from that imagery capture. So we will capture actual road center lines, edge of pavement, building polygon structures. There will be all kinds of features that will be captured as part of this data acquisition.
Next year's an off year, so
Next
it could
year is
go
an
back
off year,
down
so
to-
it should go back down. But you're seeing the combination of the $308,000 approximate dollars for the on year, and then 160-some thousand for the oblique imagery.
Is that, excuse me.
The oblique imagery, pictometry, I guess is what it's called, I guess, is who besides the assessor's office uses that? I mean, does anybody else in the county?
There are quite a few users of that, as Mr. Mitchell is quick to point out. The sheriff's office has used it some. The election commission, I believe, has used it some. Who else is on that
Fire and
list?
rescue.
Fire and rescue.
There are several other users that have used it, but on a very, very limited basis. The number of accesses that they have made doesn't add up to any real numbers, okay? Even though they might have hit it once or twice, it's not significant.
The cities don't use it at all like they do the other flyover.
Motion approved.
Motion by Commissioner Jernigan,
For the amended $1,365,715.
for the mayor's amended recommendation.
Right.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any additional discussion?
Just one more question. Why then, why the pictometry then in GIS's budget as opposed to, because it's a flyover and they've always been in, the flyovers have always been in the GIS, as opposed to, I'm saying, to the assessor.
Okay, we've only had this pictometry, this oblique, once, and it was paid for out of this budget last time.
Okay.
Twice, I
Did we
think,
fly-
Mayor, but twice.
We didn't really fly over pictometry but one time though, did we?
2005, a long time ago.
Oh, that was before I was,
Yes.
okay, excuse me.
13.
Sorry about that. But the most recent one, I'm sure we did pay for it out of this budget.
Kind of the original idea behind the GIS budget was to reflect all costs related to aerial or other GIS data acquisition in one budget, and so that's the way it's been so far. Even though the property assessor's office is the primary user of this particular technology.
Do you bid this flyover?
Yes.
So you've had different vendors do this over the years?
We bid our flyover. We have purchased pictometry off of GSA contract before, and I believe that's one of the contracts that is pricing schedules that we had considered in this most recent effort.
So that's the best price, basically, we've been able to get so far.
Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The last item on our agenda is Office of Information Technology, and we'll invite our guests to stay with us, and it's on page 17.
Okay, well, the mayor has to amend his recommendation before we get started here again. Line item 334, at 200,000 needs to stay at 300,000. So the amended recommendation is $2,682,670. And let me just take a quick look here. There are a few small changes as we come down. Communication is down 5,000. Data processing services are down 12,000. That 334 is up 50, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. Data processing equipment, they have requested 623 from the current budget of 777, and I've arbitrarily suggested that we can reduce that 10% to $560,000. So that's my recommendation. Let's go back to the 334 to give you a flavor of what that's all about. $100,000 of that I took out is for a database engine that we purchased. And we purchased this just like we purchased the hardware for the support and use of the clerk's software system. Now, so we still owe $98,000 on a 3-year purchase agreement for that database engine called SQL is the the title of it. We will be able to use that device, that engine, that database software at some point in the future, as soon as another system of some sort replaces the system that we currently have, and they will want to do that. They don't have any budget requests this coming year, but it's not something that we've lost. It's just something that we have to pay for since we made a commitment to pay for it. It will be useful. It is useful probably on any system they so choose. This will be compatible. So we don't have any choice. We have a contractual responsibility to go ahead and pay for it, just like we've already paid for the hardware that's over there, the servers, etc. And this database piece of software is part of our purchase commitment. So I thought it was just a straight up maintenance agreement and we could just drop it and not renew it since we're not using it right now. But we can't do that, so I made a misjudgment on really what our responsibility was there. So,
this is software we've got litigation on?
Yes, sir. This is not their software. This is a piece of supporting information that helps manage these databases in just about every development. If there are other pieces of software just like the one that we're having successfully implemented that would require this engine itself here probably as well. We're pretty sure that the one that most of the counties in the state of Tennessee are using requires a SQL database engine, and that would be a requirement of whatever piece of software at some point will be selected.
For instance, the sheriff has requested software. Will this engine be able to be utilized in that software?
I don't know if that system, that records management system, has this database in it or not. I'm not sure.
The municipality of Murfreesboro is using.
It's the same software they're using, but I don't know what the database engine is without somebody else telling us.
I believe that it does use Microsoft SQL Server. I believe that it does.
So you're saying that we could utilize it for this?
For that?
Conceivably. Conceivably. I don't know that I would recommend that. This is an 18-core server that was going to be capable of handling...
You're talking way over my head.
Well, it was going to be a host of a server in order to accommodate that circuit court software, and it would be huge overkill for the type of server that I understand they would build to be redundant with the city of Murfreesboro. It would be big overkill.
I'm just trying to see a use for it. I mean, we're under contract to pay for it, so we don't have a lot of choice there. So you're saying that's not going to be 200,000? That's going to be what?
300. Add the 100 back that I took out. Okay. That I made a judgment on our ability to take it out.
Help me, where I see that there were 2 people that were requested by you from Office of Information Technology, and one of them was eliminated. Went back to part-time.
Both of them.
Is that what happened when you put one they asked for on top and one on the bottom and put it voided part-time in the middle? That means they got rid of both of them?
That was a request. One of those positions was a part-time position. The other one was a full, a wholly new position. But the mayor did not recommend either one of them.
Okay.
So the part-time went back. You'll see it.
But we're still looking at a reduction over the amended budget by, almost 200?
160,000.
160. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation on that.
The amended
recommendation, yes.
Motion by Commissioner P, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, I believe that concludes our agenda. Do we have anything under other business?
Just got a question that the property assessor reappraisal and the board of equalization was on our initial for tonight, and
I believe he's going to be appearing on May 21st.
May 21st. He has a daughter graduating tonight.
Okay, May 21st.
Okay. Well, we have a county commission meeting on Thursday. We haven't found a lot of areas to cut yet, but we have another budget meeting on Tuesday, May the 19th at 5:30, where we'll continue with this process of reviewing budgets and maybe find some areas to cut that night. If there's no other items, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.